my name is Key, and this is Craig, and this is Key and Craig's Crazy Craft Corner. So basically what we're doing is we are going to be making some outside decorations for my home, and we decided that we're just going to do it on camera so we can kind of show people what it is that we're making. Craig, tell them a little bit about your experience.
Okay. From 1998 until about 2012, I'm not going to go through the whole history. I worked in the model and special effects industry, making props and models for a lot of them for Disney TV and commercials and stuff like that. So, and a lot of times we were given a pile of stuff and told to make it. So, kind of MacGyvering things. So that's why Key asked me to come help her. She's got a lot of experience doing crafting things and crafting on a dime or a penny.
So basically what we're doing is the front of my house has a archway that goes over our entrance to the house. So in the past, what we've made for the podiums that we have out front is what I would call a skull wall. So what I wanted to do this year was kind of add to that and make a archway that goes across. Now we're also decorating, our theme this year is Beetlejuice. So we are also trying to incorporate the Beetlejuice stuff into the skull wall. Now the way that we're going to do this is our wall has, it's about 8 inches across and it's about 17 inches long. It has 17 feet, I'm sorry. And it has a conduit that goes through the top of it. So it sits up about an inch or two up off the top. So the boards that we've gotten, and by the way, if you want cheap boards, go to the Home Depot is where we got these, and it's actually shelving. It's the interlocking
shelves, or is it shelving?
I think it's shelving.
Because I was thinking it looked more like
or paneling. It's paneling. Okay, I'm sorry, it's paneling. So what we did was we bought the 8-foot long paneling because it was really, really cheap. And then we bought these long pieces of 2x2s, which were also very, very cheap. We've decided we cut them to make little feet basically for the panels so that this will fit over the top of the conduits. So what we have is we have these milk jug skulls, which are very cheap and easy. You just hit up all your friends for their old 1-gallon milk jugs and their old water gallon bottles. And to make these skulls cost me absolutely nothing. So it's basically a way of vacuum forming. And I have another video that I did that shows you how to make the skulls out of the milk jugs. So if you haven't seen a video on that and you want to know how to do that, then please feel free to check out the other video.
How long did it take you to make each skull?
Each skull takes about 10 minutes to make. Unless I'm watching TV, and then they take about 45 minutes to make because I get easily distracted. So basically what we're going to try and do is we are going to attach these skulls to the board. We're going to do a mound of skulls. We're going to back them with great stuff to give them a wall-like effect and to help support them. In order to do that, the first thing that we need to do is we need to drill holes in these boards that the great stuff can hold on to. So we just do that with a regular drill.
Right. But what I'm going to do is kind of...
You're going to mark it?
Mark it where the skulls are going to be. I mean, they're going to be across the whole thing.
Okay.
So we can just...
This is kind of what Craig is here for. I have ideas of what I want to do, and then Craig tells me how I can't do it that way and it needs to be done a different way. And then
so I'm like the treasurer that says no to everything.
He's the professional.
So you just kind of got to know where the foam is going to be because you don't really want to... And just rough. This will all be, you can't see it, so I don't need to drill any holes up here because you're not going to see it. So from here up, no holes. From here back, just random holes.
All right, go ahead.
All right,
drill.
Now I can drill. Okay.
Yeah. And so you can kind of see we're just kind of randomly putting them in there. And basically all this is going to do is when this stuff goes, it'll go through some of the holes and it'll just help secure it a little bit more. If you just lay it on top, then it has a tendency to break off from whatever you're putting it on. So this just gives it an extra little anchor to go through.
I'm gonna do this just because it's a big hole. And it's catching. You can do this with paddle bits, spade bits, Forstner bits are the fancy holes.
You're like
drilling.
Bubba gum shrimp.
I got paddle bits, I got spade bits, I got Forstner bits, I got hole saws.
All right, the only thing I worry about is the wood splitting.
It won't split.
Okay.
That's another reason why. Oh, what am I drilling through here?
Not the table. Please don't drill through the table.
No. Wow, that's a tough spot. No, it won't split if you drill a smaller hole first.
Okay.
Because you're not forcing through. But this wood is pretty stout. It's paneling. Plus, you've already drilled some screws in it.
Okay, you do have to be careful not to go through the table. So that's basically what our hole system looks like. And so we're going to have to do that on the others as well, but we'll do that one later. So let's go ahead and figure out how we're going to put these skulls on.
Okay.
So what we've done is we picked some that had good chins. We're going to try it with a staple gun, see if that works. Wait, do you want to start on the edge though?
Yeah.
On the end? Okay. And yeah, that's probably
Right there?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
Yeah, I think that's good.
I got it. Yeah, I'm going to do another one.
Woo!
Hey, it worked.
Success.
So the reason I was saying that we might not be able to, and the skulls are split. Some of them are split on the top. Some of them just depends on how Key made them are kind of together. So they're just a little bit more difficult to get that tool into. And this is not a screw thingy, Key. This is called a drill gun.
Drill. You knew what I meant. So I was going to show them real quick what you were just talking about. Right. Some of these are split on the top because it's not going to matter if they're split on the top or not because it's not going to be seen. So, all right.
You want it there? They're back.
Probably. What I feel like we should do is make some of them.
I was going to do
like
that.
Kind of angled. But you would still want it up against it because you're not up against it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you want some of them to look kind of angled, and then maybe like we'll do one like this or something like that. Just, I mean, what we're going for is more of a random looking.
Yeah. So you don't want to. Yeah. You don't want to have them all perfectly level and even because this is not like the passageways under France where they made the fancy.
Or like Vlad the Impaler. Like when they have all the heads on a stake, it's not. No? Okay. That's what I think of when I think of all in a row.
No, I'm talking about the crypts under France and the catacombs. They've got they take all the skulls and they make like designs and things out of them, and they're all nice and even and smooth.
And they make designs like peace signs and
like they've made chandeliers and stuff. Well, that was in a monastery. There's a monastery somewhere that all the bones, and these are real bones, not milk carton bones.
Our initial thought is to drill or just cut little holes in the skulls and then just use zip ties to do the next layer to attach them to each other.
Do you have an X-Acto
I do have an X-Acto blade. I have a knife. Is the knife going to be?
Yeah, it'll work.
I have my dad's knife.
That will work, I guess.
Okay. I don't know if I have an X-Acto.
I prefer an X-Acto blade just because it's smaller and I'm just poking a hole.
Yeah, I don't think I brought one of
I could use my drill, but this will be fine. I mean, it's a milk carton, so it's not like super duty. Just something.
I'm sorry. All right.
It's not super thick, so it's just really easy to poke through. So. All
right, and so we just have these little black zip ties. Again, just dollar store, Amazon. Although the dollar store ones, I don't recommend. They have a tendency to just break in your hands. So do we think sideways for the first one, or?
You want height, right? So if you do sideways for the first one, and then that will give you like a step, and then you can do dip and then dip.
Okay. All right.
That's technical terms. Bidibip. That's a technical term.
And then that's gonna. We think that's gonna work.
We're gonna try
fasten.
it. We're gonna try it.
I feel like you put the holes too far towards the middle.
I needed something to.
Okay.
There.
All right.
Well, I could put another one in there to move it around.
Well, I think maybe once we.
Or the hot glue now, or if you put a little
there.
hot glue. But see, the thing with the hot glue is you got to have good contact surface
and
area, and you don't.
But
You have one little spot right here.
But I also
actually.
don't want it to become like a
Right there.
like a Jenga puzzle.
Right there.
Okay.
That looks good.
All right, so we'll put that one there next. How do we do that?
Give me your hot glue
So
gun
you want to
first.
put a hole here and a hole here?
Yeah. Well,
And
first
do
give me
that
the
that
hot
way?
glue gun, please.
Well, it's probably not hot yet, but
Oh.
well, it takes
See,
a minute.
see, that's why you get one that plugs in. You don't have to wait.
Hey. It's probably not hot yet. Nope, not hot yet. Well, I'm sorry. I thought we were doing zip ties, so. Do you want me?
We'll do both.
Okay, I'll get the plug-in one.
We'll do both. No, as long as that's on and getting ready.
It's getting ready.
Okay.
It's not instant gratification.
It's not.
No.
Oh. Where can
and
I-
actually the hot glue gun is on another table that I would have to go get. So,
Right there. All right.
yeah.
So I'm just trying
Yeah,
to figure
I
out
think
where
that
the
looks
holes
good.
would be. So I got to put one there.
And then one in his chin
One in
there.
his chin. All right.
And see, this is how you know Craig's a professional, because he actually looked and marked where he wanted to do things before he did it. Whereas I would just be like, here, I'm going to put a hole here and a hole here. And then I'd have to fix it.
It's the old adage, measure twice and cut once. So this way, I didn't measure anything, but I at least know where I'm going.
Yeah.
But
All right.
See,
And
this
so
is where a Dremel tool.
Where a Dremel
Nah, Dremel, but no, just the X-Acto blade is easier to
is
twist.
easier to twist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think I brought mine today.
Well, I have one. I just would
Okay.
have to go get it.
Go off camera?
Yeah.
Oh my
well,
gosh, can
I would
a
have to
zip-
go into another room
Oh
to
my
get it. So that would be,
All
which
right.
I can do.
Nah, that's all right. Sight.
It's a lot of fun though watching you struggle.
Thanks. I appreciate that. So we're gonna do
I thought
a
in
couple more of
X-Acto.
these, and then we'll fast forward, and then we'll get to the second one, which is gonna have a tombstone on it.
Yeah.
Still the same skulls, but tombstone will be a little bit different. And then off camera, we'll finish the putting them all together, and so we'll have all four together, and then on camera we'll come back and do like the detailing of one of them for you.
Yeah. So let's just take this. We're going to tilt it forward.
Tilt it forward just a little bit.
And the fact that it's highly unstable right now is, again, not going to matter. Once the great stuff is in there, it's basically going to bind everything together. And there's a lot of generic brands of this. The thing that you do want to be careful is they have different expansion sizes. So for instance, this one I think is a 1 to 2 inch expansion size. They have some that go all the way up to, I think, 4-inch expansion size. So you want to be really careful what you get so that it matches your project, because if you get a 1 to 2 inch and you have a lot of spots to fill, you're never going to fill your spots. If you get a 4-inch expansion and you only want it, it's going to lift your stuff up, or it's going to overflow your
Or
stuff.
poke out the front way too much.
Yeah.
And after it goes off, it's foam. You can go cut it with a serrated knife or a fillet knife. So
Yeah.
it's not like it's the end of the world.
It says on here, always wear gloves and protective eyewear.
I got mine.
I have gloves.
Where's your eye protection? There's some right there.
No, so that's okay. Those are readers.
Oh, those are readers?
Yeah, that would just make everything seem bigger.
Uh-huh.
Which, anyways.
So don't do what she's doing. See, that's why I'm the professional.
Yeah, don't do. But I will say wear gloves, because this stuff gets everywhere and it is super sticky.
Okay.
And even once it sticks to your gloves.
Go
okay,
for it.
so you put your little spouty thing on there. Can we actually move this way a little
Which way?
bit? Just
Towards us?
Yeah, towards us. Just so once we put this in here, it's going to get on this table as well. But we're going to move it off once we're done. So you just figure out your finger position.
One here.
My fingers aren't. I can't do that. That's got to
Can't
go
do that?
here.
What?
No. Well, I mean, maybe. My fingers don't
Because
spread that much.
you got to pull down and not
I'll try.
try it.
All right. Ah! Okay.
Start at the bottom.
Oh, start at the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, because you don't need it filled so much at the top. You need it to lock it together, but you want to lock down the base first and then get some at the top. And you want it to, I guess you could probably see from the top down shot, you want it to spill over any edges so that it locks itself in. So make sure you're getting over the edges really well.
Okay. It was basically a 6 foot by 3
She's being
foot.
dainty.
Well, I wanted to get all the joints first.
Oh, okay.
Because I want to make sure we have enough. We did not cut off the zip tie ends when we put them on there because it actually gives the foam one more thing to grab onto. Because you want it to have as many places to grab as you possibly can. And the holes that we cut earlier, there are some areas where the foam is coming through the holes on the other side, and we want it that way because it helps to... You
can just do that.
Or you can just shove it in the hole. Because it helps to keep it sturdy. Yeah, keep it stable on the thing. So, all right, so once we've got all the joints done pretty much and everything is... here, we need some more over here too.
Yeah.
Then we're going to take a can and we're just going to fill in as much as we can as well. And so we'll put, once this cures, we may turn it right side up and then put some more on there right side up, which we may want to do that now. I wouldn't waste too much of it in those holes because it's on there pretty. All right. It's on there pretty good.
I was just getting the last.
Yeah, but.
Because I think.
Yeah, I know you're starting. See, because this is one can gone already, and all we've done is put the base on and some of the things.
Yep.
So, yeah. So, like I said, you're going to use a lot of this. Now, I don't know. Do we want to turn it up and?
I wouldn't because it'll goo. It'll goo.
Okay. All right. Well, so why don't we hold off then?
Will slough down.
Do we want to let this cure and then we'll go back and see where we need more?
Could do that.
Yeah, maybe that'd be a better idea.
Yeah, let this cure for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because if you tilt it up, it's still not gone off completely.
Yeah.
And it will maybe not be in those gaps where you want it to be. It'll just start to slide down.
Yeah. So I think that's what we'll do then. We'll let this cure a little bit. We'll come back to it after this is set some. We'll set it up. We'll see where we need to put more stuff in because all of these gaps are going to have to get a little bit of a build in them to put the ivy and stuff in. And the ivy's actually ivy and moss are your best friends when you're making stuff like this because they hide so much. Anything where there's a split in your skull that you don't like, anywhere where there's a big opening that you don't like, shove a little moss in there, shove a little ivy in there, and nobody will ever know. So those are your friends. Okay, so here is the wall that we worked on earlier, or the archway that we worked on earlier, where we put the great stuff. It's been probably about an hour and a half, and the stuff is already really cured pretty well.
It's cured, it's mushy, but...
Yeah. We discovered something we forgot to do last time. We did not shake the can, which we were supposed to do because, we're professionals. And we also found out that you can squirt it with water and it helps it cure faster. So we went and did that and it really did help it cure a lot faster. Yeah. So the areas where it's a little thinner, that's our fault. That's because we didn't shake the can to start with. As it started flowing, you can see it's a little thicker down here. That was towards the middle of the can where it was mixed a little bit better. So it's a little thicker down there and a little flimsier down here. So so the next thing we're going to do then is we're going to put another coating of great stuff in the back, get the areas that we've missed or that still need some stability on them. And then after that, we'll paint it and we'll start adding the extra stuff in on it. And so we'll do that after everything's cured, probably give it a day to cure completely. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do next. Okay, so welcome back. It's been a couple of days. The stuff
No, it's not. We just took a quick break.
The stuff is all dried and it's all has the base paint on it, basically. And so what we're going to show you now is we're going to show you how we paint the skulls.
So with acrylic or water-based paint, there's two ways you can do it. You can either spritz your area that you want to get a little bit darker with water, and then kind of go in there, and then it's just going to flow away. It'll fill up the dark crevices or the deeper crevices that you want, and then everything else will flow away.
Okay, that totally sounded like a 60s song. Fills in the deep crevices of your soul, and then the rest
and it flows away. I'm feeling very hippie-ish
I know,
today. I don't
that
know.
did seem very hippie-ish.
Or you can water down your paint beforehand. So if you don't want to spray it, you just get your can of paint and pour a little bit into a cup, water it down so that way it is already watered as you put it on. So that is, and this is a gray. You might want to use gray or black. You can do browns depending on what you're going for. I want to get these eyes really dark, and then just maybe a little bit around it in the nose. So that's one. Now this is a technique that I don't use that often, but this is an enamel paint, and you can do the same thing. Where's another skull that I can hit?
This one?
I can do this one. Yeah, I kind of didn't do that. So you can get in there with the enamels. Now obviously if you're using acrylics and enamels, don't use them with the same brush. If you want to use your brushes, again, because acrylics wash out with water and enamels do not. You need paint thinner.
Yeah, we're just throwing these brushes away. So
we want to get down here in the cracks and the crevices. So this guy, put a little bit under his chin, in his nose. All right, and then Key is going to come in with the rag and kind of dab at it and get rid of the stuff that's at the highlighted areas or the high points, and then that way it only leaves the deep recesses.
Of my mind.
Another 70s song,
or 70s song. Obviously we'd be in front of this doing this, so we'd be able to see a little better. Right now I'm just kind of guessing at where I need to block because I can't actually see it. So, and then the third way to do this, and this is how I normally do this.
You want the water bottle?
Just because to me this is easier and spray paint is easier to come across. I never can get the lids open though. That's the hard part about spray paints. So what I usually do is I just do it this way. I spray first, like he did. Then this is really hard to do upside down, by the way. Then I just kind of spritz it on there where I want it. Then I just use an old rag like this, and I kind of go back through and I blot it. And what ends up happening is all the excess kind of comes off, and it gives you that kind of pitted look, I guess you would call it. Because everywhere that there's a droplet, I don't know if you can see this, but everywhere there's a droplet of water, the paint doesn't stick. So then when I go back through and I just blot the paint or dry the water, then it leaves this little spotty, kind of decrepit looking look on it. So that's how I do it. And then I usually go back, like he was saying, with a white or a beige or some other lighter color, and I do the same thing. I spray over the black that I've already done, and then I just kind of blot that as well to get the different light colored spots, or like sometimes it looks like bird poo. So like if you're doing a tombstone or something like that and you spray the white on and then do that, it kind of looks like, you know, birds have been sitting there and things like that.
If that's the effect you're going for.
So we're going to go ahead and finish this out, and then we'll come back and show you what it looks like finished, and then we'll start putting in the greenery and the moss and all the other extra little pieces that we want to put into this. Alright, so this is the finished paint job. You can see we added in the green and we added in some lighter areas back in the recesses, some to kind of make the skulls pop a little bit more, give us a little bit more distinction. So this dries pretty quickly because it's such a thin coating and because we blotted most of it off. So this is already probably good to go, and we're going to start putting the ivy pieces,
moss, ivy.
So we're just going to use a glue gun, a hot glue gun, and then we have all of this kind of greenery. I have this, I have different ivies, things like that. So all we're going to be doing is just kind of taking this stuff, and I want to hide this space on here. It doesn't completely annoy me, but it annoys me a little. So we also have this moss that we're going to use in some of these areas. A lot of times it's fun to put a little bit of moss in the eyeballs, or if you have any imperfections in your milk jug skulls, it's a good way to hide those. So we're also, or toupees for your skulls. Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
Good little moss mohawk going on, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah. That also sounds like a 70s song.
That would be more the 50s
That'd be
song.
80s. No, that'd be 80s.
Mohawk?
Right? Mohawks,
yeah.
whatever. Anyway, so we're going to go do that now.
He had a moss mohawk. Had a moss mohawk. No? Okay. We're done with this part. The greenery is on. We've changed a few things. We did find that the best way to put it on, we only used hot glue and a little bit of wood glue for the really mossy stuff. But since all these fake plants have wire in them, we poked a hole first, put the hot glue in, and then shoved it in there to get a good grab, and then dribbled it on top around it so it would lock in.
Yeah, so all the places that we put the ivy stuff, we basically just pushed it into the foam areas and then hot glued it in there.
The only one we did different was we drilled a hole in the wood for this one because it had a really thick base and we wanted it to be very sturdy.
This is our ode to California.
Yes.
Right here.
It's California grass.
On these top pieces here, you'll notice that we just kind of stuck these straight in so that they kind of look like they're growing up out, and then turned them a little bit so it makes a little bit more interesting composition. So I'm really, really happy with the way this turned out. The blending of the skulls, the ivy, the moss, the Beetlejuice tombstone, it just really, really made for a great Halloween centerpiece for our front yard decorations. We were actually on several haunted Halloween lists this year and had hundreds of visitors a night stopping by, taking pictures, and everyone loved the skulls. They all made a point to tell us just how great the skulls were. So be sure and check out our videos on how to make the individual skulls and a follow-up video on the making of the Beetlejuice wedding fireplace. Like this video, subscribe, then drop us a comment below with any questions or thoughts that you might have. And look for our upcoming Nightmare Before Christmas build, and we look forward to bringing you more cheap and easy ideas on how to make a big impression.